My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said, Dr. Brian, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I hate to be the guy that let's talk about women, but here I go. Like, I see a lot of situations where because I don't see enough like accountability where they do it to the single moms. Like, the man always has accountability, because it's like, even if he is in the life of the kids, it's like, okay, he's famous and rich enough to financially secure the kids. It's always going to be like, but what's your relationship with the women? What's poppin', everybody?
Welcome back to the Cole Podcast.
I'm Zoe.
And I'm Steve.
And today we got a fun one. We're going to be reacting to a video by Cam Newton, who identifies as a high-functioning father, his words, in response to a woman interviewing him about his relationship with his family as a father, saying how he is a fragmented parent, essentially meaning that he has multiple kids by multiple baby mamas. Can you be a good father in a situation like that? Well, we're looking to find out.
Yeah, most people would answer that question with the word no. But generally speaking, I mean, Cam Newton is a football player or a former football player, so he at least has enough money to support those children. But I would imagine that his answer to whatever this woman asks him is going to be very self-righteous and probably conceited. Jesus. And I base that fully on the hat that he's wearing. So let's go ahead and see
that ridiculous hat.
Yeah, this hat is actually crazy.
That is pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know where you find a hat like that.
Find it at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. All right, let's go ahead and see it. He has his dreads coming out the top of the hat.
Yeah. You ever think about if your dreads get that long, Steve, you're gonna rock that
little volcano hat?
Yeah, you got a volcano hat.
Have a little poof of smoke coming out of my hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably has a little thing he can pull, and a little poof of smoke comes out. That's how ridiculous he is. That's what he sees as being a good father.
Yeah,
like, he goes to his kids and poofs the smoke. Like,
he looks like he could be like a One Piece character. He's like, he's
that silly. He's got the dread no me.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look.
A lot of people see my situation and not think that I'm not high functioning.
What situation?
Okay, so I'm not married. I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
By how
8.
many women?
3. Ooh. And this is the kicker. I want more.
By multiple women? What's the intent of this? Or
God
by your wife?
I just want God to bring them.
Oh, okay.
My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said, Dr. Brian, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active, okay? So you're creating, and disclaimer, the kids are innocent, they are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine.
Pause it. Yeah, this is like giving me the same vibe as a video we watched like a few weeks ago, where she sounds like she's saying so much, but she's talking in such language where like it's extended. Yeah, it makes it really hard to understand what she's saying. Or am I just really hot right now? I can't tell. I can't tell if I'm like hot and having a fever dream, or if she's like talking in a lot of words to get across a simple message. I agree with what she's saying overall. Like, he is creating technically broken households, but are they really broken households if he's present to an extent? I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. I don't really think that. I don't think she's really spot on by calling it like a broken household, but he is choosing like, oh, well, like whether he has a wife or not, he still has 3 baby mamas. So at this point, if he were to get a wife, he would have a wife and 2 baby mamas. So those broken households are already created, or supposed broken households are already created, I think.
Yeah, but I think the issue here is he's still, in this instance, is saying that he's a high value man or high class man.
High functioning
man, something like that.
So he's going to have more kids with other women.
Yeah.
Is that what he's saying?
He says he's a model man, effectively.
I think he's not, I gather from this, he's not really thinking that much about it, because I'm assuming he's pretty well off, and his demeanor tells me that even though he's got a lot of women that he's created families and children with, I think his like actual merit as a person is gonna be this dictated. I think how he cares for the family that he creates. So like he's got children, he's got women, but like if let's say he's active in all of their lives, or like he's dependable to the degree to where those people don't have any issues, the kids don't have any like weird relation with him to where they feel like they don't have a dad or in their life or like a father figure. If he covers those bases and I guess does his parental duties, I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing as what he's doing. I mean, I
would say I don't see it as a good thing.
Okay.
But I don't see it as necessarily
like
a bad thing either. It's
yeah.
like it's near neutral, more leaning towards bad.
I would say it doesn't have to be a problem in that sense, like pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah.
But like I said, if because adults at the end of the day, like the only issue I can see if the kids aren't a problem, and if like because he's Cam Newton, I would assume he has like the ability to take care of a family, like multiple families essentially.
Them.
Yeah, at least financially. So I'm like, if he can at least make sure that the people like those who are dependent on him are taken care of. The only thing you're really assessing is the relationship with the women, which it seems like by default she's saying that the relationship that he has with the women are bad because like he should, I can tell that her view is more like you should have, one family, ideally one woman you care for. If you have multiple that you're caring for, then the women probably aren't happy and you have a bad relationship with them.
I think that a nuclear family is definitely like a thing for a reason. Like he definitely is not going within the confines of what is normal. But I think once you get into a point where you're rich and you can wear a hat like that and not be made fun of infinitely, I feel like now you're in a space where you're going to do things differently. People won't always accept it. And in my opinion, what he's doing is completely like 100% wrong. Like you shouldn't have kids where you have to like rotate households to be with them. It should be all within one household. Yeah. Because otherwise the kid is missing a father. Or for example, say one of those women end up with another man and now they have a stepdad instead of a dad. Right. Yeah. Now you got two dads and a mom, which is like, probably a dream for someone like you, Zoe. But
yeah, I'm just a mean, terrible person with destined to be a terrible father.
No, that was more of a cuck joke. Oh, I was more so saying like you would want to be the third man.
Yeah. I want the chair in the corner.
Yeah.
But no, it's funny. Like I'm not disagreeing with your take because I think traditionalism plays a role in making a healthy society. So like the ideal like dad, mom and stuff, I think that works way better than any form of polygamy, at least in terms of like what a society would benefit from.
The Nick Cannon scenario.
Yeah. But
talk about that in the comments.
But my thing is, I feel like this is like one of those shows because I see like women that like her that hold men like him responsible because they're like you're breaking women's hearts. Like you can't. In her eyes, it's like you can't be a good man if you're just like floating through life and just shacking up with women, creating kids, and you can't possibly attend to all those kids equally. So like there's going to be an issue inherently. But I also don't see enough videos where I see women like her question a single mom for the same thing because you have a lot of single moms, and I hate to be the guy that like let's talk about women, but here I go. Like I see a lot of situations where because I don't see enough like accountability where they do it to the single moms. Like the man always has accountability because it's like even if he is in the life of the kids, it's like okay, he's famous and rich enough to financially secure the kids. It's always going to be like, but what's your relationship with the women? But then you'll have women who have like a bunch of kids by 3 men, and they'll usually be heralded in a very good light. Like, look how she's, still caring for the kids, how strong of a woman she is, how hard she works. And it's like, but they don't judge her character off the merit of like, well, what's your relationship with all those other men? Right. You can't possibly love all of those men you had kids with equally. But like, as a guy, you have that responsibility for both, not only the kids, but your relationship as a father. They don't give like the mom the accountability of like, well, what's your relationship as a as a wife or like as a mother essentially. It's like, okay, yeah, you take care of your kids by default because you probably have them all. But if he does the same thing, why is he still being demonized for not being a man? Right. He's got to be a man and a father. She just gets to be a mother. And,
Well, yeah,
you know,
because she's
you know,
inherently
F them baby daddies.
She's
essentially.
inherently a strong woman.
Yeah, all the time.
She doesn't have to earn that. Right?
Yeah,
when you have kids as a woman, you're strong.
That's true.
It strengthens you. You feed off of their life force. So much more powerful.
You can literally see the like life force, all the particles coming into you.
Like the baby wakes up in the middle of the night and the mom's just over it.
She's just strong and grotesque.
Just like crawls up the crib.
She goes into a little bit more
slurping.
detail if y'all want to hear a bit more of it. But
Yeah, let's hear a little bit more.
Let's
a
get
bit
it.
more. Okay.
Imagine with just your presence and knowing you, but these families are still
Oh, wait, pause it real quick.
broken.
Bro, like her tits are out so much, I can't trust anything she's saying. Also, I forgot to say that. Like, I literally do
my
not
God.
care about anything she's saying.
That's
Because she's pretty
crazy.
much ruined her credibility by having her tits out.
That
like
is
They're not
wild.
that kind of out a little bit.
a little bit. She's got her entire. She's got literally. You can see the brown around her nipple. Are you
can?
kidding me?
Wait a second. Hold on. You gotta zoom in on that one. I don't believe you.
That's crazy.
All right, let's go.
And not have Papa in the house with them. So some
telling you, bro, her
child, if
nipples
not
are
all,
literally half
will
an inch
end up
down.
with
See the
some kind
areola.
of deficit without daddy being there. Now, all will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior. To say that I'm gonna build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't gonna create a home in them. I'm gonna wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still gonna be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody. And then I'm gonna build a home with her while all these other beautiful babies have houses.
Ooh, pause it.
That's completely unfair.
Okay, so I think I hit the nail on the head, because she is equating his, because basically he's giving like a lifestyle that most people wouldn't be able to afford for all of his family. So she acknowledged that, like, okay, you're financially there for the family, but because he can't marry all three of these women at once, like his relationship to the women is being judged.
Well, the kids, really.
Yeah.
She was talking about the kids and
Well,
like
yeah, creating a
not
home
being
essentially.
able to be there and
Yeah, but I mean,
every single day for each one.
let's be honest though. Let's be honest. Like, I can tell that she's not talking about to the kids, because when she gave her example as once you go find your wife and you create a home there, what about creating a home for the rest of them? It's like, well, they've got a home, but what she's referring to, I guess, is the relationship with said family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like
Yeah.
She said
as
kids,
parents.
but Steven was talking.
It's like
Yeah.
parents as a unit, not necessarily
Okay.
the woman, but like he's not able to give those kids parents.
Oh,
He
yeah.
can give the kids maybe attention sometimes. They have a mom and a house and things like that,
Yeah.
but they'll never have
Daddy
loving
won't be there
parents.
every day.
They won't have loving parents, is what I would say.
Well, my thing is, why is it assumed that he can't have good parents? Because I get it. You're not going to be the dad that's like in the house all the time. But I mean, you look at most family situations, you know, if you grow up with a father, your dad's not in the house all the time. He's probably
Yeah,
working,
he's probably
essentially.
working.
Okay, let's say
So
your
it's
dad,
like-
what if your dad was in the house 75% less than he was? How would you feel about that?
75%. I mean, was he...
So take the amount he was in there and then reduce it by another 75%. That's probably what you're getting when your dad has 8 kids.
I mean, I get that. But it's also kind of like, you know, when he's around, I mean, those bonding times matter. But, like, in between those, like, the primary things that they do is like make sure that things are taken care of. Of course, you want to spend time with your dad, but that can be like arranged. That can be made. You know, I'm just saying.
I gotta I gotta book some time.
Book
with
an
Pops.
appointment with Sean.
Let me book some time with Dad.
I mean, how much time do you really need to be under your dad's teat? You know,
I mean, shit, my dad doesn't have teats, but
I'm gonna tell you
mean,
to suck a lot of his teats.
I would prefer. I mean, because my dad wasn't around enough, I feel like, and because of that, I was lacking something. I was missing like a certain confidence or discipline or self-esteem. So I think if you actually spend time with the kids, the same way like if you don't have a mom that's pleasant to be around or you don't have a mom that's in your life, you know, it's like you're going to be missing part of the dynamic, right? Like the nuclear family is designed to be nuclear. Like it's designed to have all of the elements together so that they operate properly.
Yeah.
If the family doesn't have all the pieces, then it's not going to function the way that a family needs to function. You can get by, but I feel like the family's not going to function the way that it needs to function for the kid to have the best upbringing possible.
Yeah.
I
Which
think
is
that's
what
the
they
whole
deserve.
basis.
Well, I agree that it's like I'm sorry to cut you. I know you're gonna say something, but I was just gonna say I think you can have it to where that it's not like completely impossible to have it. Like obviously it'll be better. I think it's like a kind of like a spectrum in a way. Like, you know, the more he's there, the better it is. But it doesn't necessarily mean that if he's not there all the time, it's necessarily bad. It's just, you know, as long as you're creating enough time as you can and doing what your primary duties are, then I think you should be fine. Because, you know, if you believe in gender roles essentially and you believe in like kind of a traditional idea of a family, you would still acknowledge that like the dad's primary role is like to kind of be a role model and a provider. And I feel like as long as you're doing those, meeting those metrics consistently, the amount of time that you can put in with the kids one-on-one is only going to be an added bonus. But as long as the kids are taken care of, that's like your primary duty to the family. Right. And I think anything else that's being measured off of like, you know, well, what makes, you know, your role in the family like more home-like is going to be, well, what's your relationship to the mom? And I feel like that could be important. But I think a lot of times that's the only thing that's taken into consideration of whether you're a good dad. Because it's like if I financially provide and I'm a responsible person and I'm a role model to like my entire family, like they see me maybe not in person, but they know of me, they know my presence is there, and the things I do is being for the house is being felt. You know, why am I solely being judged on my relationship as like you know, a homebody father? Like if I can't be home, you know, why is it all the time? Then why is it only being assessed like, well, you can't possibly be a good dad because you're not home with mom every day?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, children are whole people, so they need a whole upbringing. I feel like that's why the judgment is like that. Like, you can provide as much money as you want, but it won't replace the need for a father in your life, I feel like.
Yeah, she's more so in this video just saying that he's effectively a low-functioning or low-value man because of that
she's just
factor.
calling him a dick.
But he thinks he's high-functioning or high-factor.
Yeah.
Well, he's just a douche.
Well, you don't like him.
She's saying
I mean, I'm not saying
that.
he's a great guy, but I could tell that she's like kind of biased towards him because like the low functioning behavior comment is kind of, it seems like a more personal thing because I feel like she doesn't like guys like him. It's like, oh, you just like to screw women and leave. Like, you're that kind of guy. I think that's.
I mean,
where that's
but who
from.
would like that kind of guy?
Yeah,
you know?
she's like a relation. I don't know.
I can't believe you called me a cunt. Like,
She's like, let me see what she does because she's probably like a relationship person or something. She's a doctor.
I don't care about this one.
I'm just giving you some background.
shit.
You can keep discussing what y'all talking.
Well, I'm just so hot.
Yeah,
it's really hot. Our AC is off today, guys. And
LOL.
it's just like horrendously hot in here.
Yeah. I will say this though. Like I said, I'm not surprised why she's saying what she's saying, and I'm not
He's a
saying Cam Newton's a
psychology
like
expert.
excellent father. He could absolutely just be a selfish guy, which I mean, I would probably put money on it. That could definitely just be the case.
Like
He's just a selfish guy with a lot of money.
She's trying to break that mental
That's
barrier
absolutely
that he
like a
has.
possible thing.
That mental image he has of himself. She's trying to break that. Saying,
Yeah, she does. She wants to, and I think, because I think this is a selfish guy with a lot of money, like living the life that he idealizes for himself because he's like, I don't have to be the best man to be with. But most women are gonna like me because I got a lot. I can provide them with lifestyles they wouldn't get from a guy that probably would be around all the time. Yeah. And I think she's just like, man, this cocky guy sitting across from me has a lot of ego. I'd really like to put him in his place. I think that's what this really is about.
Sounds about right.
She's a psychology expert, renowned life coach, and co-producer of MTV.
Psychology expert.
She's a psychologist. Obviously, Dr. Brian, and she has a chain on her neck.
She's a doctor.
So she's an MD, and she's a life coach. So that's her thing right now.
Yeah. So she is an actual doctor. Did she
Yeah.
actually study to be a doctor? Or is she just like a life coach type person? Oh, MD.
I just said,
okay.
she's
But I would say for me to buy the narrative that's being
Is
preached
her in
here.
fucking Hinsdale, Illinois.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I would say for me to buy the narrative that she's preaching here, I would have to see a lot more single moms being held at that same level to where it's like, I don't care how much you do for your kids. You didn't bring a father into the household to create a home, so you're by default a bad mother. Because if what her message is true, then essentially that like he cannot be a good father unless he can create a home for all those kids and all the women he's with. Then by default, any single mother without a man in the household cannot be a good mom. You cannot you can't call her a strong woman. You can't call her any of that.
Well, I would say the women failed to choose someone to bear their children that was a good fit, but they're not necessarily bad mothers because of that. Because at a point, it's a it's a combined decision between her and somebody else. So if the other person decided to leave, she can't control
they
that.
have to take
So
off
I would say
after
Cam
them.
Newton almost tricked these women with his money. He basically tricked
Wait.
them using his money
Well, wait a
into
second.
thinking that he would stick around. Probably.
I gotta push back on that strongly, because my thing is, you're basically saying that that from a woman's perspective, she can be tricked into having the kids with this man, and he just decides to leave. But so she has no accountability for not knowing.
Well, I didn't say no accountability. She chose to be with him, but he probably gave a facade of like, or it's like they were tricked without either party knowing they were being tricked. Like Cam's like, oh, baby, it's going to be sweet. Going to have kids. They'll be financially supported. It's almost like the kids were tricked. Like the kids were tricked out of their Lucky Charms, where it's like,
Well,
he's like, I got the money. We can have the kids. You raise them. I give you the money and it'll be fine. But then when you have the kids, you realize, oh, these kids now don't really have a father. Right? I'm not saying the women are upset with the arrangement. The women probably like the arrangement.
Right.
But the kids are suffering because of it, because they're women, because their mothers are whores.
Okay. Well, at least you're calling them like everyone's getting the smoke.
Yeah.
But my thing is, were these women like? Because I don't know, but I'm like, I don't know if any of these women were married to Cam Newton. Like, did all three of these women
he never
marry?
got married,
No,
it seems like.
Well, see, that's my problem. Because I'm just like, okay, so this man wouldn't commit to you and give you a ring, but you still had his kids.
Yeah.
Because that's
yeah. I mean, it's not smart. It's pretty
well, that's what
stupid.
I'm saying. That's where I think the accountability comes in. Like, if
Yeah,
we
but
could,
he could also just not do that. He could also
What?
be like, I'm going to commit to a woman and have kids. Not, I'm going to have 3 women and
Yeah.
8 kids.
It takes
no,
two.
I'm
It
saying
takes
that
two.
if
It's mostly him driving it. It seems.
He's got all the money,
My thing is-
power, influence.
Okay.
such and
Yeah, he
such.
has all the power. There's literally every bit of. What woman is going to be like, oh, Cam Newton wants to
so she can't
impregnate
just
me.
walk away.
Oh, Cam Newton wants to bust inside me and give me children. I'm going to be rich for the rest of my life. I shouldn't do that. Like,
Okay,
what
but
woman's
here's-
going to do that?
Well,
They're not
I'm-
going to think about the consequences.
Well, but see, why are we giving them the grace of being like, oh, you didn't know, you couldn't have the agency to realize and make decisions as an adult that maybe this isn't
Because
a good
they're
thing?
probably,
It takes two. I mean, it's on both.
My thing is this, Steve. Do you see grown women as children?
Yes.
All right. Well, I mean, I can't argue that. Yeah. All right, that's fair.
Yeah, I do.
Listen, yeah,
Most of them, I mean, a
no,
lot
that's
of them.
fair. That's fair. Because in that case, I 100% like acknowledge, and I will not fight back for what you're saying, because, like I said, you view them as incapable of
Yeah,
having
what were you
agency.
expecting me to say? No, I think that they.
No, I thought you were gonna say like, yeah, they're adults with agency, but because they're not, I can't argue with you. You're right.
Okay.
That's crazy.
You're right. You're right. I view
most
I on the
men
other-
aren't adults with agency.
No. I'm saying that I tend to view all women as, adults with agency, which means that
Simp.
it doesn't make any sense. I'm literally telling them that to be responsible for their choices. So I'm just like, listen, I feel like a
view all
woman.
women as adults with agency, and they deserve
crazy,
to
Steve. That's so insane.
I can't believe I'm still the bad guy.
Honestly, you guys are like swapping, like taking turns.
Oh, I'm just saying, man. I just think that like if you can hold the man responsible and tell him that like you should have basically been woman hopping, then the women should have the same responsibility. It's like, okay, well,
They can
maybe
both
you
take
should have waited
responsibility
for a
for
level
sure.
of commitment to have this guy's kids,
Both of them
because you
could,
don't know where
yeah.
he's going.
Okay.
That's
Well,
funny, though.
That's
let's
all I'm
agree to
saying.
disagree. We got to close it out. I'm dying of heat stroke. This has been a great episode, man. I personally think women do have agency. I was telling a joke there.
Yes, it's true.
But overall, at the end of the day, Cam Newton's going to do what he's going to do. Rich people are going to do what they want to do generally. I just find it interesting because Cam Newton was like a hyper-Christian guy when he was playing football. Or was that Tim Tebow? That was Tim Tebow. Never mind. Anyway, so...
People generally get money.
Yeah, thanks for watching this episode of The Cold Podcast. You can find us on all social media at The Cold Podcast. We're also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. Patreon, $5 a month gets you access to the entire catalog of My Black Friends podcast. That's our old show. Super funny. We're going to do more at some point. Thanks for popping in. We got to pop out of here.
All right, peace.